speech, I chose the intergenerational topic, and I interviewed my grandfather, who was 18 at the time of Pearl Harbor. And I'm going to talk about the effects of World War II. World War II is a large and important topic in American and global history. It saw the destruction of several European, Jewish, and Romanian communities, a major genocide carried out against virtually every European minority group, millions of military and civilian casualties, and the first use of nuclear weapons in battle. It would take all day to talk about the amount of tragedy and destruction that went on during this time and the information on the topic. The war has left permanent effects on America and the world. Despite all these things, World War II did in fact have some positive effects. Throughout this speech, I will outline the effects that World War II had on the American economy, social issues, and technology. Now, before I get into the effects, I think it's important to give a brief overview of exactly what of the war. I know you could talk about it all day, but this is going to be a brief overview. It was basically the Axis powers versus the Allied powers. The Axis powers consisted of Germany, Italy, and the Allied powers were USA, Britain, France, and the USSR. There are other countries involved, but these were the main countries. Germany, Italy, and Japan, their aggression basically went unchecked. In Europe, Britain and France took a stance of appeasement, where they would give in to Hitler's demands in order to avoid war. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. And the U.S. took a stance of isolationism, where they would, since they had just been getting out of World War I and the Great Depression was going on, they didn't want to interfere with any foreign affairs. Before the war, we actually entered the war. America was overwhelmingly opposed to entering into World War I. We were still dealing with the Great Depression. When I was interviewing my grandfather, he told me that life was already pretty tough at the time, and his family couldn't imagine having to go to war, but America prepared anyway. Before we actually entered the war, we did have a draft in 1940, and we upped our production of war. That all changed on December 7th, 1941, at Pearl Harbor. The Japanese attacked our Navy in Hawaii at Pearl Harbor, and 2,403 people were killed, and America and Britain declared war the next day. When I asked my grandfather about this, he compared it to 9/11 in today's sense. That's how they felt back then. And there's some pictures of some of the Navy ships that were bombed. Because of that, like I said, there was a draft in October 1940. At the time, only men ages 21 to 35 were required to register. After Pearl Harbor, it was changed to men of the ages of 18 to 45. 36 million men registered. And the draft process basically worked. You get your orders in the mail, and after that, you would have to go to local draft boards and be examined. If you weren't fit to go to war, you could stay home. My grandfather, when he went to the local draft board, you had to weigh at least 105 pounds, and at the time he only weighed 102 pounds. So he told me he had to petition to actually go. Now into the effects that this had on the economy. Before the war, we were dealing with the Great Depression. 30% of America was living in poverty, and there was 17% unemployment. During and post the war, after the war, there was a huge demand for labor. Jobs had to offer high wages and benefits because of the demand to get people to actually choose to work for them. The gross national product actually grew from $88.6 billion to $135 billion in only 5 years, and war-related production skyrocketed. There's also there's a big social impact. Women, after the men all left to go to war, women took the roles that were traditionally belonging to men. They would usually be staying at home, but they entered skilled jobs and factory jobs. And according to the U.S. Department of the Interior, 18 million women were working by the end of the war, which accounted for 1/3 of the workforce. And there's a picture of Road to the River there, which was created by the government to inspire women, telling them they can do it, they can work. There's also a lot of opportunities for minorities at this time. They had a lot of opportunities they never previously would have had to get jobs. African Americans also played a very significant role in World War II. Over 700,000 actually served in World War II, which accounted for 20% of the workforce. They gained they gained a lot of respect among people in America, but unfortunately they didn't get any medals for that, which created a debate in civil rights. And there's also technological impact. There were a lot of advances in warfare and rocketry. The V-1 or cruise missile was created this time, along with the V-2, which is a missile that would fly to space before falling on their enemy. Radar advanced a lot at the time too. And one of the biggest advances in technology this time, in my opinion, was the creation of nuclear weapons. After Pearl Harbor, Roosevelt created the Manhattan Project, which was a $20 billion project that took less than 4 years, and we ended up creating the atomic bomb. There's a picture of an atomic bomb explosion there. And we essentially ended the war by dropping bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And here's some pictures of the destruction. And that helps us in defense today. We deter anyone attacking us because of nuclear weapons. World War II will always be remembered as a terrible and devastating time in history, and rightfully so. The terrible things that happened can never be forgotten. I just hope that some of the positive effects can be remembered as well. Without the war, there's a lot of uncertainty on how we would have been able to come out of the Great Depression, or even if we could have. Women and minorities gained opportunities that they may not have previously had, and technology was created that still helps to protect us today. I hope that I was able to shed some light on the effects that World War II had on America.